There's a version of you the world has never seen, not because it's not ready, but because you keep hiding it behind fear, distraction, and doubt. You wake up every day wearing a costume, smiling for people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared, chasing goals you don't even believe in anymore, waiting for something to change. But what if I told you, you don't need more time? You need a death of the old you, the one addicted to comfort, the one afraid to start over, the one who keeps saying, someday, and calling it a plan. Because right now, there is a stronger, sharper, more focused version of you, begging to be born. And in the next 30 days, you're going to meet them, not with hype, not with theory, but with rituals, rewiring, and radical discipline. You don't need another motivational speech. You need a mirror. You need a mental funeral. You need a system that burns the old you to the ground, so something unstoppable can rise. So, press play and stay until the end, because by the time this ends, you will never think, move, speak, or see yourself the same way again. Chapter 1. The Mirror. Exercise that breaks the cycle. Before you even think about changing your life, go to a mirror, stand still. Don't check your phone. Don't fix your hair. Don't fake a smile. Just look into your own eyes. Really look, like you're searching for something, because you are. Now ask yourself, not in your head, but out loud, who did I become just to feel safe in this world? Was it someone quiet, even when you wanted to scream? Someone who lowered their voice, their dreams, their worth, just to avoid judgment? Was it someone who acted strong, while silently falling apart? Then ask again, who would I be if I stopped caring what other people think? What would you wear? What would you say? What would you chase if no one was watching? Most people never ask these questions. They wake up, live on repeat, then go to sleep, still pretending they're okay. They never confront the truth, because truth is uncomfortable. But you can't fix a life you're afraid to face. This is the exercise that changes everything. It's not about finding motivation. It's about facing the person you've ignored for years. You, not the version you post, not the version people expect. The real you, the one who still has scars that haven't healed, the one who still remembers the silence, the one who still wants more but feels guilty asking for it. Look at them. They're still here. They haven't given up on you, but you have to make a decision. Do you keep pretending? Do you keep wearing the mask? Or do you finally say, I'm done living on autopilot. I'm done hiding. I'm done surviving. This isn't about becoming a better version of your past. It's about leaving the past behind completely, because you're not here to fix the old you. You're here to bury them. So something stronger, something freer, something unstoppable can finally be born. This is not a small step. This is a funeral. For the fears, for the fake smiles, for the lies you've told yourself just to get through the day. And when you walk away from that mirror, you walk away different, more aware, more real, more alive. You're not waiting anymore. Not for the perfect time, not for the right people, not for confidence to magically appear. You're starting now, you're rebuilding now, you're breaking the cycle now, and the world will adjust. Chapter 2. Burn the old identity, or repeat the old life. There's something no one tells you when you try to change your life. Your past won't let go quietly. It doesn't matter how motivated you feel, how many books you read, or how badly you want to start fresh. Because the old version of you, the one who gave up too soon, who said yes when they meant no, who stayed silent to avoid conflict, is still alive in your habits, your thoughts, your body. That version of you isn't just a memory. It's a program running in the background. And unless you delete it, you will repeat it. Every time you say, "That's just how I am," you lock the cage tighter. You're not protecting your identity. You're protecting your limitations. That version of you who keeps breaking promises to yourself, they will fight for their survival. They will whisper, "You're not ready. You don't have what it takes." What if you fail again? And if you listen to that voice, even once, you're keeping the cycle alive. But here's the part no one talks about. You don't need permission to change. You don't need to wait until you feel worthy to outgrow your past. You don't need to explain your transformation to anyone. Sometimes growth isn't gentle. Sometimes growth is violent. It's the version of you that says, "I'm done apologizing for wanting more. I'm done shrinking to fit into spaces that drain me. I'm done carrying the pain that other people handed me." You don't need a better plan. You need a funeral. A funeral for the you who kept people around just to feel needed. A funeral for the you who watered dead plants and called it love. A funeral for the you who lowered your standards just to feel chosen. Let them die. Let the part of you that always settles finally rest. Because here's the brutal truth. If you don't burn the old identity, you'll keep rebuilding your future on top of broken beliefs. And that's why most people never change. They upgrade their goals, but never upgrade their identity. They try to become successful while still thinking like someone who's unworthy. They chase discipline while still calling themselves lazy. They want abundance, but deep down still believe they're not enough. You can't carry both. You either carry your excuses or you carry your evolution, but never both. So ask yourself, right now, are you protecting an identity that's keeping you small? Are you addicted to the comfort of being familiar, even if it's destroying you? Then light the match. Burn the version of you that only knows how to survive. And watch what rises from the ashes. Someone dangerous, someone focused, someone free. The old you got you here, but they can't take you where you're going. Honor them. Thank them. Then leave them behind. Because the life you've always dreamed of, it doesn't belong to who you've been. It belongs to who you're becoming. Chapter 3. The one hard thing ritual that rewrites your brain. Change doesn't begin in your goals. It begins in your nervous system. That's why motivation fades. That's why vision boards don't last. Because your brain doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about your patterns. It doesn't want what's best for you. It wants what's familiar. Even if familiar means lazy. Even if familiar means depressed. Even if familiar means wasting hours, days, years on a life that doesn't inspire you anymore. So how do you break the cycle? You do one hard thing every day before your brain has time to talk you out of it. Something uncomfortable, something inconvenient, something you've been avoiding. Wake up earlier. Take that cold shower. Go for the walk you said you'd do 2 months ago. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to what scares you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be uncomfortable. Because every time you choose discomfort on purpose, you're rewiring your brain to say, "I don't run from pressure. I adapt to it." You're no longer waiting to feel brave. You're no longer asking fear for permission. You're training your body to move before the fear kicks in. You see, your brain is plastic, not physically, but emotionally. It reshapes itself based on your repetitions, not your intentions. So if you keep waiting until you feel ready, you'll stay stuck in the cycle of almost. But if you commit to doing just one thing daily, that the old you would have quit halfway through. You'll feel it, that shift, that spark, that moment when the new identity starts to grow roots inside you, and suddenly you'll start to trust yourself. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. This is what most people don't understand. Transformation doesn't feel good at first. It feels like resistance, like dragging yourself through the mud, like fighting your own mind every hour. But if you can just keep doing one hard thing and do it consistently, you'll stop needing willpower. It will become your default setting. It'll be automatic to wake up early, automatic to eat clean, automatic to say no to distractions, automatic to push through when others stop. Because your brain will stop associating discomfort with danger and start associating it with progress. That's how elite people are built. Not by doing everything, but by doing the uncomfortable things consistently. And here's the secret. You won't feel like doing it. Not on day 1, not on day 15, maybe not even on day 30. But the point is not to feel ready. The point is to do it anyway. Because every time you do, you prove something powerful to yourself. I am not my emotions. I am not my comfort. I am not who I was yesterday. You're someone who follows through, someone who chooses pressure over pity, someone who builds without applause, and someone who doesn't need motivation. Because discipline is now your identity. So pick your one hard thing. Make it your ritual. Make it your weapon. Make it your proof that the new you is already being born. Chapter 4. Stop escaping. Start excavating. You say you want to change. You say you want to grow, but every time the pain shows up, you run, you scroll, you eat, you sleep, you distract, you escape. And at some point, escaping became your routine. Not because you're weak, but because no one taught you how to sit with what hurts. So now, every time your heart whispers, "Let's talk about this," you mute it with noise, with laughter that doesn't reach your eyes, with habits that numb you just enough to survive another day. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. The version of you that's addicted to escaping will never create a life that feels real, because you can't outrun something that lives inside you. You can't heal something that you keep covering up, and you can't rebuild your life if the foundation is made of denial. You want to change? Then stop escaping. Start excavating. Sit in a room. No phone, no noise. Just you and the parts of you you've been avoiding. Ask yourself, why am I still angry? Why do I still feel stuck? Why do I sabotage good things the second they show up? Let the emotions rise. Let them scream. Let them say everything they've been silenced from saying for years. It's going to hurt. But it's not punishment. It's processing. You don't break cycles by pretending you're fine. You break them by facing the cycle head-on. And I know what you're thinking. If I sit with all this pain, won't it consume me? Number. That pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to free you, but only if you have the courage to finally listen. Because underneath the anxiety is truth. Underneath the fear is clarity. Underneath the silence is you. The real you. The one that's been buried under years of pretending. Excavating your soul means you get honest about your patterns, your pain, your procrastination, your self-sabotage, your guilt, your shame, your jealousy, your loneliness, your fake smiles. It means pulling every buried emotion out of the dark and placing it in the light where it loses its power. And this is where the shift happens. The moment you stop hiding from your truth is the moment you start rebuilding with it. Because you don't need to erase your past. You need to understand it. Learn from it. Use it like bricks to build a version of yourself that is no longer afraid to feel. That's the part no one tells you. Emotion is not your enemy. It's your compass. And when you stop running from it, you start moving toward the life that was meant for you. You don't need more distractions. You need deeper awareness. Because when you finally sit with your emotions, raw, messy, unfiltered, you realize something powerful. You never needed to be fixed. You just needed to be heard. And once you hear yourself fully, once you sit with the darkness long enough, you'll find something you never thought you'd find there. Light. The kind of light that only comes when you stop escaping. And finally, start excavating. Chapter 5. The most dangerous word in your vocabulary. There's a word you use almost every day, a word so casual, so innocent, that you don't even realize it's destroying your potential. That word is, I'll try. I'll try to wake up early. I'll try to start eating better. I'll try to focus. I'll try to change. It sounds harmless, doesn't it? It sounds like you're making progress, like you're giving yourself a chance. But listen carefully. I'll try is not a commitment. It's a permission slip to fail. It's a polite way of saying, I'm not all in. I want the result, but I'm not ready to sacrifice for it. I want change, but only if it's easy. And your brain listens. It always listens. Every time you say, I'll try, you're training your mind to prepare for defeat before you even begin. Think about that. Would you trust a pilot who says, I'll try to land the plane? Would you trust a surgeon who says, I'll try my best not to mess this up? Then why do you treat your own life like it's optional? This is why your transformation never sticks. Because you keep leaving the back door open. You keep giving yourself a way out. And as long as there's a way out, you'll always take it when things get hard. There is no power in trying, only in deciding. And that's what you need to do now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now decide who you are. Decide what you stand for. Decide what you no longer tolerate in your life. No more, maybe. No more, if I feel like it. No more, I'll try. Replace it with this. I do. I will. I choose. Because once you decide, fully, deeply, unapologetically, your brain stops fighting you. It stops second-guessing. It stops negotiating. It switches from survival mode to execution mode. But it only happens when you take away the option to quit. So right now, I want you to think about something you've been trying to do. Something you keep starting, then stopping. Something that matters to you, but you've never gone all in. Now say it out loud. Not, I'll try. Say, I do this. I own this. This is who I am now. Feel the shift? That's identity being rewritten in real time. Because the truth is, you don't become powerful by accident. You become powerful the moment you decide that the old excuses don't belong in your vocabulary anymore. And the most dangerous excuse of them all is pretending that trying means becoming. It doesn't. Trying is a stall. Trying is a delay. Trying is fear dressed up in polite language. So stop dressing your doubts in soft words. Call them what they are, limits, and then crush them. This is your moment to replace weak language with warrior language. You don't try to rise. You rise. You don't try to be disciplined. You become discipline. You don't try to build a new life. You build it with your bare hands. One decision, one standard, one identity shift at a time. No more I'll try. Because starting today, you're already becoming. Chapter 6. Rewire your environment or stay the same. You've probably been asking yourself, why do I keep going back to the old habits? Why do I keep quitting what I promised myself I'd change? And here's the truth that will sting. It's not always about discipline. It's about your environment. Because no matter how strong your will is, you will always be a slave to your surroundings if they are built to support the old you. Read that again. You want to create a new identity, but your room still looks like your past. Your digital life still feeds you distractions. Your home is a comfort trap. Your friends still think you're the same. So you wake up every day in an environment that reminds you of who you were, not who you're becoming. And that's the cycle. You try to change internally, but you never reprogram the space externally. It's like trying to heal in a room that's still bleeding you. The truth is, you rise to the level of your rituals, and your rituals are controlled by what's around you. If your phone is the first thing you see every morning, you start your day chasing the world's agenda, not your own. If your room is messy, your thoughts will feel messy. If your walls are covered in the past, your mind won't see the future. Environment is not just physical, it's emotional programming. And if you don't take control of it, it will quietly control you. So ask yourself, what's still in my space that belongs to the version of me I'm trying to escape? Maybe it's a number in your phone, a toxic connection you haven't deleted. Maybe it's a drawer full of memories. Maybe it's your bed, too soft, too tempting, too connected to your laziness. Maybe it's the energy of your room, dim, cold, uninspiring. Whatever it is, strip it away. Your future doesn't belong in an environment that feeds your weakness. Rebuild your space like it's your temple. Clean it like your peace depends on it, because it does. Design it like your future self already lives there. Let it feel powerful. Let it feel minimal. Let it feel like this is where warriors are made. Put your journal where you'll see it. Put your workout gear in the open. Make water your default. Delete the apps that rot your attention. Light the candle. Open the window. Replace every object that reminds you of laziness with something that commands discipline. Because your environment should not reflect your history. It should reflect your next level. The new you is not just a mindset. It's a whole new atmosphere. And here's something nobody tells you. Every time you walk into a room, your subconscious is scanning for signals. Signals that tell it whether to rise or fall back into comfort. When you enter a space that whispers, "Relax, you've done enough," your brain turns off. When you enter a space that says, "We grind here, we build here, we rise here," your brain wakes up. So build a space that speaks for you when you're tired, that pushes you when your motivation disappears, that keeps you aligned even when your energy fades. Because here's what happens when your environment aligns with your identity. Your actions stop being forced. They become natural, and that's when change becomes permanent. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer temptations. You don't need more motivation. You need an environment that doesn't give you options to quit. This is how you set traps for your future success. Make winning easy. Make quitting hard. Because when the world tries to shake you, you can return to a space that protects your peace, reminds you of your power, and keeps you grounded in your truth. That's the home of the new you. And if you're serious about breaking the cycle, you'll rebuild that space today. Not someday. Not when you're ready. Today. Because your environment is either your excuse or your secret weapon. You choose. Chapter 7. You're not undisciplined. You're overstimulated. You keep blaming yourself. You keep saying, "I'm just not disciplined enough. I don't have enough willpower. I can't stay focused." But what if I told you it's not your fault? It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're weak. It's that you're overstimulated. Your brain isn't broken. It's just burning, overheated, flooded with distractions, drowned in noise. You're waking up every day and feeding your mind more information than it can handle. Swipe after swipe. Post after post. Notification after notification. And then you wonder why you can't focus on anything for more than 5 seconds. You're not struggling with discipline. You're struggling with dopamine addiction. And that's exactly how the system is designed, to keep you hooked, to keep your attention split, to keep your mind chasing the next small hit of pleasure instead of building something that actually matters. And here's the trap. You think you're just relaxing, but every scroll is training your brain to expect stimulation on demand. So when it's time to do something hard, like reading, working out, meditating, creating, your brain rebels. Why? Because those things take time. They take effort. They take silence. And silence is something your overstimulated brain now sees as a threat. This is why most people fail to change. Because they keep trying to build discipline on top of chaos. They don't realize discipline isn't something you add. It's something you reveal once the noise is removed. You don't need to force yourself to be disciplined. You need to detox your mind. You need to stop flooding your brain with content that leaves you drained. You need to stop waking up and letting the world invade your mind before you've even had a thought of your own. You need to stop allowing pleasure to lead and let purpose take control. Because the truth is, when your brain stops being overstimulated, something amazing happens. You begin to think clearly again. You begin to feel hunger again. You begin to crave depth over dopamine. You stop chasing attention and start chasing alignment. So here's what you do. You unplug, even just for a few hours a day. No endless scrolling, no background noise, no chaos. Let your mind feel silence again. Let your thoughts breathe. Let your emotions surface, the ones you've buried under distractions. Because clarity only rises when stimulation settles. You don't build a powerful mind in noise. You build it in isolation, not loneliness, intentional stillness. And it won't feel good at first. You'll get bored. You'll feel the itch to check your phone. You'll feel uncomfortable in the silence. But don't run. Stay. Because the version of you that can sit still, the version that can focus deeply on one task, the version that can go a day without needing to be entertained, that's the version that wins. Not just in business, not just in health, but in life. Because most people today are slaves to stimulation, and in a world where everyone is distracted, the focused one becomes unstoppable. So stop calling yourself undisciplined. You are not weak. You are wired wrong. And now, you're rewiring. Starting now, you reduce the noise. You remove the junk. You take control of what you consume, because what you consume consumes you. And from that quiet space, from that clean mental slate, you will start to feel something rise in you again. Drive, focus, conviction, power, the real you, the version that was never lazy, just buried under distraction. Bring them back. They're not gone. They're waiting underneath the noise. Chapter 8. Heal to outgrow, not to return. Some people heal just so they can go back. Back to the same people who broke them, back to the same environment that drained them, back to the same story that almost ended them. They don't heal to evolve. They heal to be tolerant, to smile again, to pretend again, to survive again. But you didn't come this far to just go back. You didn't survive the fire. just to sit in the ashes again. You didn't cry yourself to sleep for months, just to fit into a version of life that doesn't see your worth. Let this truth sink in. Healing is not about becoming strong enough to return. Healing is about becoming so strong you never settle for anything that weak again. Because you are not a patchwork project. You are not meant to be taped back together, just so you can be useful to the people who broke you. You're not here to be accepted by the room you once had, to shrink yourself to fit inside. You're here to become something they no longer recognize, something so whole, so focused, so self-respecting, that your silence alone makes noise. And yes, healing is uncomfortable. It's not soft. It's not pretty. It's not a spa day or a motivational quote on your wallpaper. It's ugly. It's lonely. It's quiet. It's full of days where you don't recognize yourself, where you question everything, where you stare at the wall and wonder if this is really worth it. But let me tell you something. Those are the days where the real transformation is happening. Because healing isn't when the pain disappears. It's when the pain no longer controls you. It's when you look at the scar and say, "Thank you for shaping me, but you don't lead me anymore." It's when you realize that the lesson wasn't meant to return you to who you were. It was meant to birth someone who's never existed before. You don't go back to love that made you question your worth. You don't go back to friends who only applauded the weak version of you. You don't go back to habits that made you hate the person in the mirror. You rise. And when you rise, you don't apologize for it. You don't lower your energy just to make others comfortable. You don't downplay your discipline just to be liked. You don't edit your shine to protect their ego. You heal so you can walk into rooms and not feel the need to explain your peace. You heal so you can look at the door that once led to your destruction and leave it closed. For good. And here's the most powerful part. When you truly heal, you lose the desire to prove anything to anyone. You stop needing closure. You stop needing apologies. You stop replaying the old conversations in your head because the healed version of you understands. Not everything needs to be revisited to be released. Sometimes healing is quiet. Sometimes it looks like deleting the number and not looking back. Sometimes it looks like blocking the trigger and protecting your peace like it's sacred. Because it is. And no, you won't get applause for this part. No one claps for boundaries. No one celebrates when you choose silence over war. But you'll feel it in your nervous system, in your sleep, in your smile. The calm, the clarity, the confidence. You'll know you've healed when you no longer want what you had, because who you've become finally feels like home. So don't heal to go back. Don't heal to explain. Don't heal to prove anything. Heal to outgrow. Heal to protect. Heal to evolve. Because the version of you that's coming was never meant to return. Chapter 9. When it gets boring. You're getting stronger. You're chasing motivation. That fire, that spark, that lightning in your chest. That let's go energy that makes you feel unstoppable. But let me be real with you. That feeling, it's temporary. It's fragile. It doesn't last. And if you rely on it, you will never become who you were born to be. You see, most people quit not because they're weak, but because they're addicted to excitement. They want every workout to feel amazing. They want every day to feel new. They want every task to feel meaningful. But the truth is, growth is boring. Let that sink in. Greatness is not built in the fire. It's built in the monotony, in the repetition, in the unglamorous, invisible, unnoticed days, when you show up and no one claps. Think about it. The strongest muscles are not built from one powerful workout. They're built from 1,000 quiet, consistent ones. The sharpest minds aren't built in bursts of energy. They're shaped in silence, in study, in solitude. But here's the trap. The moment it gets boring, your brain says, "This must not be working." And that's where people quit. They stop when the excitement fades, not realizing that boredom is the doorway to discipline. That's the moment your body is saying, "Are you serious about this? Or were you just here for the thrill?" Because the truth is, anyone can start when it's fun, but only the dangerous ones keep going when it's dry. Only the elite keep building when no one's watching. Only the committed keep rising when progress feels invisible. Only the new you survives the boredom that killed the old you. This is the part of the process no one romanticizes. The lonely mornings, the long nights, the silence, the discipline, the routine that feels endless. But this is where transformation happens. This is the moment when the habits harden, when your mind evolves, when your identity shifts from someone who needs motivation to someone who executes regardless. Because every time you do that boring task, again and again and again, you're casting a vote for the identity of someone unbreakable. And eventually, those small, silent efforts become impossible to ignore. The body changes. The mind sharpens. The results start to roar. Not because you chased them, but because you outlasted everything that came to break you. So don't complain when it gets boring. Celebrate it. It means you're on the right track. It means the ego is fading and the discipline is rising. It means you're no longer chasing highs. You're chasing standards. Let the others quit when it gets repetitive. Let the world sleep in. Let the crowd take breaks. Let the weak wait for inspiration. You're locked in. You've trained your mind to go again, and again, and again. Not because it feels good, but because you've decided who you are. And now, boredom doesn't scare you. It builds you. Because when you can thrive in the dull moments, you're becoming something terrifying to your past. Consistent, relentless, disciplined, dangerous. And that kind of person, they never need motivation again. They are the motivation. Chapter 10. Become the version of you that scares your past. There comes a point in your life where you have to make a decision. Do I keep living like this, or do I become someone I've never seen before? And that's where you are right now. You've outgrown the version of yourself who apologizes too much. The one who doubts everything. The one who always second-guesses their gut just to make other people comfortable. The one who laughs off their dreams because they're afraid of being laughed at first. You've played small for so long, you forgot how tall you actually are. You forgot that you were born to lead, to rise, to shock people. Not with noise, but with your presence. You see, when you finally commit to transformation, you stop chasing a better version of your past. You start becoming a version of yourself that the old you couldn't even imagine. A version that doesn't flinch. A version that speaks with weight. A version that walks into a room and doesn't need to be loud to be noticed. That version of you doesn't beg to be chosen anymore. They choose themselves. They don't seek approval. They build in silence and let their consistency speak louder than anyone's opinions. But here's the truth. To become this person, you have to be willing to outgrow your old life completely. You have to accept that some people won't understand you anymore. Some will say you've changed. Some will mock your standards, your habits, your vision. Let them. They weren't meant to come with you. They were only there to witness the breakdown, not the rebirth. Because the version of you that's coming is dangerous to your past. It doesn't think the same. It doesn't crave the same things. It doesn't respond to the same triggers. That version, it's calm in chaos. It's locked in when others panic. It doesn't collapse when things go wrong. It calculates, adapts, and keeps moving. And let me tell you something powerful. You becoming this version of you will scare people. Not because you're violent, not because you're angry, but because you are no longer soft with your standards. You're no longer available for chaos. No longer interested in meaningless conversations. No longer giving your energy to people who don't respect their own. You start setting boundaries. And they call you cold. You stop explaining yourself. And they call you arrogant. You start winning in silence. And they call you distant. Let them say what they want, because they are not your measurement anymore. You've already seen what happens when you live for people's approval. You lose yourself. And you're done being lost. You're choosing to become someone that your past can't touch. Someone who wakes up and no longer checks their phone first, but checks their standards. Someone who doesn't look in the mirror hoping to look good, but to see alignment in their eyes. Someone who no longer asks, "Do they like me?" but instead, "Am I proud of who I am today?" That's the real shift. When you stop being afraid of being different and start being afraid of dying as the same person you were a year ago. Because if that doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. You are not here to play life on easy mode. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to survive Monday to Friday and call that a life. You are here to break every mental limit you were taught, to shock your old self with how focused, peaceful, and powerful you've become, to walk so far from your past that if the old you saw you today, they'd be in awe. Not envy, not jealousy, not confusion, awe, because you finally became the version that no one thought you could, not even you. But now, you know better. Now you don't hope. You train. You prepare. You decide. Now you're becoming the version of you that your old life will never be able to contain again. Chapter 11. Make pain a weapon, not a prison. Let's talk about pain. Not the kind you post about. Not the kind you cover up with fake smiles and forced "I'm fine." I'm talking about the pain you carry in silence, the kind that keeps you up at night, the kind that no one sees, but it shows up in everything you do, in how quickly you get tired, in how numb you feel around people, in how easy it is to give up because something inside of you still feels broken. But let me tell you something no one has ever told you loud enough. Your pain is not the end of you. It's the beginning. Because pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger. It's a teacher. It's a test. And if you learn how to read it, it becomes your weapon. Think about it. Some of the strongest, most unshakable people you've ever seen, they didn't get there through comfort. They were built through heartbreak. They were carved by betrayal. They were shaped in the fire of rejection, loss, and failure. And you've been through enough. Now it's time to turn that pain into something powerful, because as long as you keep treating pain like something to escape, you'll stay trapped by it. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stop hiding, and you sit with it, you take the power back. You look at the wound and say, "I didn't deserve this, but I survived it. And now I'm going to use it." Let your pain sharpen your focus. Let it fuel your discipline. Let it remind you why you'll never tolerate disrespect again. Let it be the reason you never settle, never beg, never chase validation again. Because your pain isn't random. It was sent to reveal who you really are. The version of you that smiles when it's hard. The version that keeps building with bruised hands. The version that wakes up even when everything says stay in bed. You're not soft because you feel deeply. You're strong because you're still standing. And that pain you think makes you weak, it's actually the proof of your power. Here's the truth. Everyone has pain, but only a few people use it. Most people drown in it. They wear it like a badge of identity. They get addicted to the sympathy, the self-pity, the victimhood. But warriors, they take the same pain and turn it into fuel. They don't need to be rescued. They rise on their own, one scar at a time. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped wishing the pain never happened and started using it to make yourself untouchable? What if the heartbreak became the fire that made you fearless? What if the betrayal became the moment you found real loyalty in yourself? What if the silence taught you to become your own source of strength? That's the moment you go from hurting to healing. Not healing that just patches you up. Healing that evolves you, that hardens you, that frees you. Your pain doesn't define you, but how you use it will. So don't numb it. Don't drown it. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Channel it into your workouts, into your goals, into your silence, into your focus. Use it like a sword, not to destroy others, but to cut away everything that no longer belongs to your future. Because the real revenge isn't proving your pain to people. The real revenge is becoming so strong, they wonder how you survived at all. So no, don't be afraid of pain. Be afraid of wasting it. Because it didn't come to break you. It came to build a version of you that fear won't even recognize. Chapter 12. Build a mindset that can't be bought, broken, or bored. In a world where everyone's watching each other, competing for attention, likes, validation, very few people are actually building anything real. They're building personas. They're building noise, but they're not building themselves. And the ones who are? You can tell instantly. They don't need applause. They don't flinch under pressure. They don't crumble when life gets heavy, because they've built something that no one can see. But everyone feels when they walk in the room, a mindset that can't be bought, can't be broken, can't be bored. Let's break that down. You want to become unshakable? Then you need to understand one thing. Your greatest power isn't your talent. It's not your looks, your connections, your resume. It's the way you respond to chaos. Can you stay focused when everything around you is falling apart? Can you stay calm when people attack your character, your path, your silence? Can you stay consistent, not for a week, not for a month, but forever, no matter how unmotivated you feel? That's the mindset we're building now. It starts with this rule. Never let the world train your mind. Train it yourself. Because the world will teach you how to beg. Beg for attention. Beg for love. Beg for success. But when you train your own mind, you stop asking. You stop chasing. You start commanding. Not by being arrogant, but by being anchored. And that comes from doing things most people refuse to do. Sitting in silence when the world wants noise. Showing up when no one is clapping. Staying disciplined when boredom hits like a storm. Believing in yourself, even when everyone's waiting for you to fail. A mindset like that isn't built by accident. It's forged. Every day, every decision, every moment you say, I don't feel like it, but do it anyway. You're hammering steel into your spirit. Because here's the truth. The strongest minds in the world, they don't need anything. They don't need the perfect mood, the perfect weather, the perfect words. They operate from principle, not preference. They don't rely on the outside to stay strong on the inside. And that's what makes them rare. That's what makes them dangerous. That's what makes them free. Because most people fold under pressure. They get thrown off by opinions, criticism, delays. They live life reacting, always responding to what life throws at them. But the new you? You're not reactive. You're deliberate. You decide who you are. You decide how your day will go. You decide how much power outside things are allowed to have. And here's the secret. The world can only control the minds that are empty on the inside. But your mind? It's becoming full of standards, full of clarity, full of routines, rituals, and reasons that are unshakable. You're not just surviving anymore. You're strategizing. You're executing. You're becoming the architect of your own mental fortress. So when the chaos comes, and it always does, you don't beg for peace. You bring it with you. You walk into storms with calm. You walk into pressure with poise. You walk into silence with self-belief so loud, it drowns out the doubt of the world. That's what happens when you build a mindset that's bought by no trend, broken by no opinion, bored by no repetition. Because you don't just do things when they're new, you do them because they're necessary. You don't just show up when it's exciting, you show up because it's non-negotiable. And eventually, when the world sees that you no longer respond to pressure, because you are pressure, they won't know how to label you. That's fine. They were never meant to understand you. This mindset isn't for everyone. It's for the few, the focused, the dangerous. It's for you. Chapter 13. Day 30. Declare war on who you used to be. You've made it to the 30th day. But this isn't the end of your transformation. This is the day you bury the old you and never dig them back up again. Because let's be honest, that old version of you, they were tired. They were afraid to be seen. They were constantly shrinking their power just to be accepted. They waited for motivation. They begged for peace. They chased validation in rooms that never deserved them. They wore fake confidence and called it personality. They gave away their energy to people who wouldn't even give them respect. They lived in the shadow of what they could become, but never became. And now, that version of you is gone. Today is not a celebration. Today is a funeral, the death of excuses, the burial of delay, the final moment where you look at everything you used to be and say, "Thank you for surviving, but I'm done just surviving. Now I lead." Because the person you're becoming, they don't ask for permission. They don't chase moods. They don't fear being misunderstood. They wake up with clarity. They walk with calm. They speak with fire. And they move like someone who knows, "I built this with my bare hands." You didn't just complete 30 days. You completed a war. A war against your old patterns, your old cravings, your old comfort zones. Every time you showed up when it was boring, you sharpened your blade. Every time you resisted the urge to scroll, quit, or disappear, you added armor. Every time you chose discipline over distraction, you stepped closer to becoming the version of you that no storm can break. And now, it's time to declare it. Stand up, wherever you are. Stand, take a deep breath, look around, and say these words out loud like you mean it. I am no longer who I used to be. I don't move like them. I don't think like them. I don't settle like them, and I will never return to them. I have been buried and rebuilt. I have been broken and reformed. I have been lost, and I found myself again in the silence. No more shrinking, no more waiting, no more hoping someone else saves me, because I am the rescue. I am the return. I am the rebirth. The world will meet a version of me that even I was once afraid to believe existed. This is not motivation. This is identity, and I will never be the same again. Take that in. Let the silence after those words sink deep. Because something just shifted in your spirit. This isn't just the end of an audiobook. This is the beginning of a legacy. And not a legacy built on noise. A legacy built on consistency, on inner fire, on quiet strength that doesn't bend for comfort, because it's been forged by purpose. So what happens now? Now you show up, every day. No applause, no excuses, no back to old habits. Because the new you is not a phase. It's a permanent decision. You no longer need people to notice. You no longer need the world to clap. You are the proof. You are the result. You are the living evidence. That rebirth doesn't require permission. Just a choice. You made that choice. Now protect it like your life depends on it. Because from this day forward, you don't walk into the world wondering who you are. You show the world exactly who they're dealing with. You don't break. You don't beg. You build. Welcome to the version of you that was hidden in the pain, shaped in the silence, and released in the fire. You are free, and the cycle is broken. Forever. You didn't finish this audiobook. You finished the war, not the war with the world, but the war within. You faced the mirror. You buried the excuses. You stood alone. You kept going when no one was watching. And now, something in you is different. This is no longer about becoming better. This is about becoming undeniable. You are not the same person who pressed play 13 chapters ago. That version of you was still doubting, still waiting, still hoping. But the one who stands here now, they're ready. Not for motivation, not for approval, but for momentum. To build, to lead, to live with a mind that doesn't break, and a spirit that doesn't beg. So what comes next? Whatever you decide. Because now you have what most people never find. Not confidence, conviction. Not hype, identity. You are not chasing the future anymore. You are the future. So go now, and let the world meet the version of you that they never saw coming. Not loud, not desperate, but anchored, awake, unstoppable. The cycle is broken. Now begin.